It's March 3rd and it's time to take a garden here with Gardening Simplified. We're just out here in the garden. We're taking a look at things because we have them uncovered. It's going to be up into, I don't know, it might get up to 80 today, which would be kind of seasonably warm. But as you can see, we got a lot of green in here. Looks like a big part of it is onions. We replanted our collards here. As you can see, we've got a few that are dying right there, and they're, I don't know what it is, maybe fungal gnats or something got in there. Can't see ants, but anyway, we're going to try to deal with that. The onion situation now. These onions here and these onions up here are the same age, but you can see how much bigger these are because they were covered up. The ones on this side over here, they were set up about a week behind these, but they're seeming to catch up, or they're getting pretty close. But they were covered at our first freeze up in January. Now these other onions, they weren't. Now we lost a bunch in well, that row over there, which we've replanted, filled in. We've got to fill in the gaps here because we've lost quite a few in there. We've got plenty, but we've got a lot of spares, so we need to go ahead and get them out. The spinach is looking pretty good, but I say pretty good. It's growing really slow. The thing about row covers are they filter a lot of the light and they keep the humidity higher in there, so you might end up with certain conditions, from the high humidity, and then it gets really warm, but you get more filtered light, like say you were in a greenhouse type situation. So you've just got to watch that, and as much as you can take and open that up. Now we've got, these were onion sets, and I always talk about planting onion sets. Well, that wasn't what I thought it was. I always worry about them bolting, and that actually looked like it's going to seed really young. But these sets, if you go back and you can see this row here of the white onions, they were planted a couple weeks before the red onions, and you can see a difference in them. They're probably about 4 inches taller. Same thing. These are red ones over here. This row here, I didn't talk about in the last tour, but this was our red cabbages, and that freeze, it just wiped it all out. So we've got some other cabbage ready to go back in, so we'll be planting that here in the next few days. These onions, we have the same problem. The freeze killed a bunch of them before we covered them. You can see how we've got some bunch of hollow areas. We've got plenty of onion sets. Of course, these are red ones here, but we'll just mix them in with the white ones. The leek is looking pretty good. This should really be a good harvest off of this year because we planted it considerably deeper. But the cold did stun it back, and it's been covered now that it's open, and we should be able to leave this open unless some oddball storm comes in through till spring. Same thing with our garlic over here. It got a little bit of freeze, but it's been kept under, so it's doing good. And this is more white onions, so it's planted at the same time as the other sets, and it's really doing good. We have our elephant garlic over in this row, and it's coming along good. We're going to have to get in here and weed these rows. We've been building some refurbishing some of the beds, putting more compost down, getting ready to plant. Spring's just around the corner, so we'll be planting. This garlic here is looking good. And we've got some garlic here, and we've got more onion sets. Now these onions here, there's actually garlic, the little nodules off the elephant garlic that are planted here, but it tends to, a lot of times it comes up real late. And waits till the ground warms up real good. So we said we were going to plant these green onions here, and then we'll harvest these out, and that way we wouldn't just have an empty bed waiting on the garlic to come up. We need to consider that whenever you're planting. We've got the end and the sides open on a greenhouse because of how warm it is today. We've moved our tomatoes out here. I've just watered them so they look a little washed down, but they'll stand up here in a little bit. But I was checking to see how many I had, and I've got a little over 400 plants. Not that I'm going to put that many out, but I should have a lot of spares anyway. The carrots they're getting thinned down. We've been picking this row down to about where it looks like it's kind of even. Those were put in a little bit later. The first batch didn't come up good. Our potatoes here, they're looking pretty good, and they should have some small potatoes under them now. It won't be long. We'll be digging these up so we can put in some tomatoes in here. And we've got some parsley here. It's doing pretty good. Now we've got a lot of our propagations. We're moving them around. Over here we've got some elderberries. These are the ones that have just been moved up to gallon pots. I got 11 cucumbers, and these are looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the ground in here. I'll probably have to provide them a little bit of row cover here maybe next Friday, just so they don't get slowed down. Now all these right in here, of course, that's another blueberry plant to go with the rest, a different variety. These here are citrus that I've been growing from seed, and of course I have my single seed challenge down here, and that'd be this one here, and it's looking real good, a little grapefruit. And then these are all the figs that have been propagated, and these have already rooted out good and moved up to gallon pots too. So even though some of these are just barely budding, they've got serious roots on them. So once they get those roots, I go ahead and move them up. We're going to have to do some planting in here. What the plans are is we've already refurbished this bed, so we could just move that over. And what I'm going to do is start planting some of these tomatoes in here, give them a head start. And like I say, if we have to, which we can go with some taller hoops if they do outgrow these in the cold weather's coming, and then we'll just put some row protection over them. Our muslin mix is doing real well in here, as you can see. We've just harvested this Friday, so we'll be harvesting it again maybe today or tomorrow. Now the cilantro, it is starting to bolt, so we're gonna take and probably pull some of these out, and this is where the plans are to start putting the cucumbers in. Normally I had grown these about a foot apart, maybe just a hair more, but anyway, I'll start putting those in here and pull out plants as I need for space. Now these carrots here they're coming along, but they still got probably at least a month or so. The chard's doing better. It was looking pretty bad. We had to cut off a lot of leaves, had a lot of bug damage and such as that, but it seems to be coming back on some of it. Here we have our pineapples. We'll see how they do, and we'll deal with that. And we have a few herbs here. We've went to a different variety of oregano that's supposed to be a little stronger, and then I have some sage right here, and these will go into containers. We're not going to put them in a bed again. It was really rough getting that oregano out. We have some parsley here and a few spares and lots of onions, and I think I might just need to go ahead and cut these tops back on these. I was going to plant them earlier, but we've just got tied up. We've got some more propagations. We've got some more cabbage, some sprouting broccoli, some broccoli. All that stuff's got to go out. We've got some more celery here we were going to put in. What the plans are this year is to do a lot more undercropping. You know, a lot of times we don't think about that in our garden. When we're limited on space now, I've got a lot of space, but it's better to utilize all the space, and a lot of times it helps other plants, because what we'll do in here when we plant our tomatoes this year, we'll take an undercrop lettuce under it. We don't have to worry about weeds so much, so we're not going to do it so much for weed suppression, but it's just wasted space under there, and the lettuce will pull more of the nitrogen, which that way the plant won't focus so much on growth. It'll be focusing more on production, because it won't have such rich, because this compost is kind of seems to be rich on nitrogen. But anyway, that's the plans. We have this other lettuce up here, and of course we've got some more parsley here, which this is getting a little large, so we might take this out. All these propagations here, and the blackberries. We have a couple more figs up here. In fact, I think looks like probably about 7 more figs up here. These haven't started. This one is kind of budding now, so it won't be long. It should be putting on leaves, but some of these others, they've been put in these pots, and they hadn't budded yet. Now this is a thornless blackberry here, along with some more here, and these haven't come out yet. And we'll go on over here. Now we had to replant our kale, our lacinato kale, so it's doing good, and we have some cabbage at the end of the row down there. Hopefully it'll do good. Now this broccoli is side shooting, but we haven't got to it yet to trim it off all the freeze damaged leaves, and that'll be our next thing there, is to clean that out. And possibly we've got some sprouting broccoli maybe put in this area. I'm not sure if we'll just take out a complete row and then plant that other in. We haven't decided yet. And we've got these two. These were the 2 final rows that we had to do a little work on towards the end and cleaning up, and we've got them all laid in ready. The turnips, the freeze got them, and then some bugs got them. We're leaving them. We'll probably come in here and do some thinning. And these are Shogun turnips, so they're a white turnip, supposed to be a really nice flavored green, which it was all right. I don't know if I'm going to say it's the best, but they're way too tight to start forming good turnips, so we'll need to thin that out. Now the strawberries are doing good. We came in here and we cleaned them up. We got rid of most of the red leaves from the damaged red leaves, and we finally got these last 2 rows covered. They've been covered for a while, but you can see that they're all blooming up a storm, and they're setting strawberries all over. So they're going to be ready here in hopefully about a month. We ought to have strawberries coming out of our ears. Now we do need to come back down in here on these and clean up some more. You can see where we've got some red leaves and such as that. We'll come in and clean out the dead stuff, make sure if we've got any runners, we'll go ahead and pot them up, because we've got a few gaps in the other part over there. But right now it's kind of in between because we covered these so long that we've had pretty cold weather. So we hadn't had the bees in here, but they should be in here, coming in now. Now we've got cabbage on this row, and we've been harvesting some, just taking it out. And now this is our broccoli. We did have to cut some of this out because the way that it got damaged, you can see how it's kind of hollow here. This is solid in here now, but what happened, when we cut these heads off, and then we had to cover it up because of cold weather, and that humidity in there caused a lot of rot in these, so we had to take and cut those ones out. But we have been harvesting side shoots off of this. We have another row of onion sets. These are were planted just right after the other white onion sets up on the top of the garden. Now we have our blueberries. Now we have 5 different varieties out here, and now this is kind of a mid variety, and I can see them getting some buds. I don't know how well they'll do. These start to swell up. This one here started its buds and it's getting ready to bloom. Hopefully this cold spell next Friday won't harm it. This one's been really late to bud, but it has flowered a little bit there, so it's waking up. These, I didn't think that I'd get any blueberries, but it's looking like I might see a few on these this year. I do have some strawberries that's dotted around out here where we had them on this line, and we're taking them up. We'll be moving these to the other. As you can see, some of these hadn't woke up, but some of them have, and hopefully we'll get at least a few blueberries this year. This warm winter, some of them budded out, and then they dropped their buds or their flowers, and then they actually did bloom again, because I guess they were in the middle of the cycle, but they're doing good. So it's getting that time of year. Spring is here. A lot of our seedlings are doing real well, as you can see. Our potatoes that we had planted earlier, we checked them today. They're not showing signs of popping out of the ground, but that's a good thing, because that means I don't have to take and cover them up if cold weather comes. But anyway, that's where the garden's setting for this March 3rd. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the green. I hope it gets you excited and gets you to wanting to plant something. And if you like this video and you want to see more, just hit that subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified, and of course give it a big thumbs up. Oh, and let's not forget the asparagus bed here. This was new bed last year. These were the normal, I think, 2-year-old roots that you buy. We did cut a few when it's going to freeze, but you can see these are some nice big, about 1/2 inch or so off those old ones. That's waking up. These others are waking up in here. Now these were the ones I planted from seed last year. And as you can see, some of these roots are really doing well, because they've got pretty close to 1/2 inch asparagus coming up on them. So, you know, seeds might be the way to go if you have time. Some of them are not real big. They're really small, but they'll get there. This was the bed where I talked about we took out the oregano, and you can see we just made a mess of that one. But anyway, we'll just smooth it back out and bring in some more compost and fix it up. And our rosemary, it bit the dust. But anyway, my seeds are germinated. Hopefully they'll survive good, and we'll we'll have a few more, and possibly we might even put that in a container bed too. But anyway, happy gardening.